Cameroon marks World Environment Day with focus on beating plastic pollution around the country and encouraging countrywide awareness and action for limiting plastic leak into streams and waterways for an eco-friendly habitat. The in-depth report of the 7:30 News walks you into the world of beauty pageants to discover what lies beyond the beauty and the glamour of these beauty queens whose world is characterized by the good, the bad, and the ugly. Cameroon's football icon Samuel Eto'O presents his good services to the Minister of Secondary Education to lead a peace crusade to Anglophone Cameroon to invite the forces in contention to bury the hatchet and give peace a chance. And those are our top stories. The 7:30 News on the CRTV. Hello, I am Ben Menopofong. The international community has been reflecting today on ways of preserving the earth from destruction by man-made causes. The 4th edition of the World Environment Day has been commemorated around the slogan, Beat Plastic Pollution. It has come at a time when humanity is set to throw 8 million tons of plastic waste into the ocean every year. Christian Cheatam watched the day's event in the nation's capital and put together the following report.
Statistics indicate that there is more plastic paper on Earth today than there are stars in the sky. 8 million tons of plastic waste is said to be dumped in the ocean every year, according to UN statistics. If the trend continues, then by 2050, there will be more plastic in the oceans than fish. Minister Hele Pierre says the time to act is now. He says Cameroon's national strategy to control plastic waste has been addressing the issue.
I think one of the major achievements is the fact that the private sector is now part of the caravan with the Ministry of Environment to discourage the use of plastics. We need to broaden and intensify our action.
According to the Minister of Environment, personal commitment is needed on the part of all Cameroonians if the phenomenon should reduce.
Someone living in the city who wants his or her own garden or biological plants and doesn't have space, what you need to do is just to use a couple of plastic bottles that you have loitering around. You put them together like this, and you can have your own plants.
Floods, diseases, and falling agricultural production await humanity if the plastic monster continues to grow.
In the north region of Cameroon, it is tons of banned non-biodegradable packaging seized from smugglers that is being destroyed by the regional delegation of environment as a way of discouraging their commercialization and use. This was the crux of today's activities in that region to mark the 2018 edition of World Environment Day. As Luisa Kwanka Achato reports from Garwa, the population of the North region has been encouraged to opt for authorized and biodegradable plastic packaging. Luisa?
Vast landscape and neighborhoods bestrewn with tangled heaps of noxious waste plastic packaging. Sludge which clog waterways as well, which imperils the health and well-being of humans, animals and the environment.
These plastics contribute to soil and water pollution as well as increased risk of food and healthy consequences for the populations. And also the animals, we observe that some animals eat these plastic bags and may die because of that.
Culverts and roadside gutters regularly reeded of clog, among other remedial actions, feature prominently among government strategies to break the jinx of indispensability with respect to the use of non-biodegradable plastic packaging.
Even though the government is engaged in sanitation activities, they are also engaged in repressive activities. And the message here is to say that as you were using, we will also be fighting behind you.
Ce sont des infractions à la loi pénale.
Smuggling and trading these banned wrappings are acts punishable by law. The government is resolute in clamping down on defaulters.
Des sanctions pénales contre ces contrevenants.
With 23,000 tons of banned plastic wrappings, less than 60 microns thick, seized from smugglers tagged for destruction, Environment officials and other stakeholders hope to axe consumers' dependence on these hazardous substances with the goal of moving towards a plastic-free future, the essence of this year's commemoration of World Environment Day.
The ban on the use of lightweight, non-biodegradable plastics of less than 60 microns is yet to be applied in markets across the country. In the field, mostly supermarkets and pharmacies are using biodegradable plastics. The porous borders that allow the entry of contraband non-biodegradable plastics are said to be a reason for the persistent use of such plastic papers. Bernice Batitata now paints the picture of what obtains underground.
Yaoundé, in one of the pharmacies, only the biodegradable plastics are used for packaging. Even when the stock has been exhausted, the non-biodegradable plastics are no alternatives. The preference is for papers. Clients have no complaints. Papers even decompose faster than any plastic. A similar scenario in supermarkets. No packaging using light and single-use plastic bags. The government policy is applied and there is no room for compromise.
We use biodegradable plastics, which is good for the environment, yes, and we keep in line with the law.
But vendors are not deterred, not even. The 4,000 or 25,000 CFA francs penalty will stop them from using the forbidden articles. The wholesale vendors carry them around selling boldly and fearlessly. It is some 4 years since the joint ministerial order forbidding their use and sale was passed.
They cannot buy goods from us, we give them without tying them. So if there is another means to tie those goods, people should provide it for us.
We have our porous borders. These guys probably at night or whatever smuggle this product into the market. The services of the custom department are really helping us very well. Each time they have any seizure, they get us informed and we collect and we destroy.
It therefore means there is still a huge market for contraband non-biodegradable plastics in Cameroon.
Transforming non-timber forest products is a sector in which female entrepreneurs in the area of small and medium-sized enterprises are beginning to excel in Cameroon. And this was made known at a workshop organized today in the nation's capital by the German International Cooperation, GIZ, in partnership with the Ministry of Forestry and Wildlife. The main objective was to explore ways in which the protection and transformation of non-timber forest products can be enhanced to boost the national economy and reduce poverty. Joyce Tata has the details.
This seminar, which brought together some 60 participants, seeks to examine the stakes and challenges in the local transformation of forestry products.
What we want to achieve by supporting these women is to promote the valorization of the products, to add value to the product.
Technical German Corporation GIZ has provided some machines to operators in this sector to increase the quality and quantity of non-timber forest products, which the government sees as a big opening for Cameroon.
Every year we can use more than 31 billion francs just from the harvesting and processing of non-timber forest products.
Thanks to these oil press machines, female entrepreneurs in the far north region who produce neem oil can now register more profit, requiring less labor.
In an hour's time, some machines produce about 50 liters of oil. At first, we gained 18,000 in a month, but today we gain about 400,000.
Therefore, they are calling on government to increasingly invest in this sector.
And you're watching the news on the CRTV, Cameroon's news leaders. The draft report on the human rights in Cameroon is being corrected in its form and content. This is within the framework of a two-day workshop organized by the Ministry of Justice and Property Sales with focus on external validation of the 2017 report on human rights in the country. Participants of the workshop opened in Yaoundé today by the Secretary General of the Ministry, Joseph Fonkwe Fongang, came from public administrations, administrative institutions, and the civil society. Sidonie Jomandi reports.
The Ministry of Justice has committed itself since 2005 to publish a report on human rights in Cameroon in order to make an annual assessment on situations in the country as far as the rights of humans are concerned.
Your expertise should therefore enable you examine and, if necessary, amend this document so as to enrich it and make it more coherent and more credible. Some of the issues treated therein are the preservation of our sense of a nation, the management of crisis in the Northwest and the Southwest regions.
In the meantime, the framework of external validation of the draft report on human rights is to guarantee economic and social rights of Cameroonians. For 2 days, participants from various administrations and civil society organizations will work in collaboration with the Department of Human Rights of the Ministry of Justice so as to evaluate and adopt the 2017 draft report on human rights in the country.
The Minister of Transport, Jean-Ernest Masena Ngale-Bibehe, has paid maiden visits to the Douala International Airport. During the visit, the director of the airport, Jacob Mbagaso, revealed in a presentation that a solar array of a little over 14,000 square meters will soon be installed at the airport. The transport minister was accompanied in the visit by the minister delegate in his ministry, Mefiro Umaru, and other close collaborators. Scholar Maloke joins us with details from CRTV ETO'O.
The visit, embarked upon by Transport Minister Ernest Ngale Masena Bibehe at the Douala International Airport, was an exploratory one as he took time off not only to see the various airport departments, the innovation works carried out in the toilets and other works to upgrade it to an international standard, but listened keenly to explanations provided by the heads of the units in response to his questions. After a working session that ensued in the boardroom of ASECNA, the transport boss expressed his satisfaction for what has been done to improve on the structure after complaints received recently. He also said though not all has been done, he is confident that by the time Cameroon will be receiving visitors coming for the 2019 AFCON, everything will be put in place. Earlier during a presentation in the VIP lounge, the airport's director Jacob Bargazo revealed that by the end of this month, a 14,000 meter square solar array will be installed at the airport, which will provide about 1.5 megawatts of energy to better lighten up the runway. The project, he explained, will be realized thanks to support from the International Civil Aviation Organization. He also announced that so far, some 18 airlines are flying the Douala International Airport, which registered over 1,032,237 passengers in 2017, 13% more than in 2016. This visit by Minister Ernest Ngale-Bibehe of Transport is the first since he took over that post.
And as I was announcing in the headline, the former captain of Cameroon's national football team, the Indomitable Lions, and today football icon for the country, Samuel Eto'O, has expressed his intention to partner with the Ministry of Secondary Education to preach peace in secondary schools in the Northwest and Southwest regions. Samuel Eto'O made his intentions known today during an audience granted him by Secondary Education Minister Professor Nalova Lyonga. And as Baldwin Sama reports, Samuel Eto'O's Foundation and the Ministry of Secondary Education will, in the months ahead, begin their peace preaching mission, with the first stop to be in Boya in the Southwest region.
This is the first time Samuel Eto'O came visiting at the Ministry of Secondary Education, and for this maiden visit with Professor Nalova Lyonga as minister, Samuel Eto'O came along with ideas for a successful partnership between his foundation and the Secondary Education Ministry to preach peace in secondary schools in the Northwest and Southwest regions. While welcoming Samuel Eto'O to our ministry, Professor Nalova Lyonga expressed the ministry's joy to welcome the football icon, confirming the ministry's readiness to partner with him in a bid to help foster peace in secondary schools in the two English-speaking regions.
We're going to begin by doing some sports and making some things available to the children who are over there, so that they can do certain sports. I can't say exactly what it's going to be, but I'm sure I will have the time eventually to talk with you about this. But I just want you to know that for the first instance, I would like to invite you to the Southwest region.
Samuel Etofis confirms the important role Cameroonian roots have been to him throughout his football career and says this opportunity is payback time. Football gave me everything. If I wore the best jersey in the world, it is thanks to football. It's also thanks to the education I received from my parents and the support I received from many Cameroonians. I created emotions for many Cameroonians. In return, I have this love to share. Samuel Etofis gets ready to share his experience with secondary school students and make them dream of being like him one day.
The brevet d'études du premier cycle BPC examination kicked off today all over the national territory. At the government bilingual high school Emana here in Yaoundé, which is one of the several examination centers in the capital city, over 1,000 candidates are sitting the exams. Cynthia team visited the center at the start of the examination and now paints the picture and atmosphere that prevailed there.
On arrival at the examination center, Government Bilingual High School, Emana Yaoundé, this morning, the candidates verified the exam halls and checked on their numbers to ensure their sitting positions. Then the administrators cross-checked their acceptance list to ensure their names were on the attendance list. While some candidates expressed their emotions, testifying they were nervous and frustrated, given it was their first time of sitting for the exam, others said they were morally and mentally prepared for success. The exam that started this morning at 8 a.m. prompt took off in a calm and serene atmosphere.
The exam started well this morning. We had no major problems. They have already started with the first paper. This morning they are beginning with étude de texte, and next they will have correction orthographique.
It was the maximum concentration as these candidates tried to do justice to their sleepless nights of revision on answer sheets.
The Cameroon General Certificate of Education Board and other examination boards in the country have been challenged to do more to make it easier for candidates with special needs to take part in their examinations. This was the outcome of a PhD thesis defended in the University of Buea by Dr. Charlie Ringu Nyugab. The thesis focused on what the examination boards are doing to facilitate the participation of candidates with special needs in their examinations. Charles Abuna of CRTV Southwest now presents the candidates and his work.
The researcher examined how effectively the Cameroon GC Board and the Nigerian National Examination Council adapt their exams to meet the needs of candidates with special needs, especially the visually impaired.
The procedures for searching examination questions, the procedures for validating examination questions, the procedures for registration, the procedures for producing question papers and answer booklets, the procedures for administering examinations, scoring examination scripts, and publishing results.
It was discovered the Nigerian National Examination Council is doing better than the GCE board.
NECO was more inclusive than the GCE board in the first 6 procedures, and the GCE board was significantly more inclusive only in the area of publishing examination results.
The research work can prove very useful to examination boards and educationists.
In the area of training teachers, training examination officials, imparting knowledge and skills to them, which they require in order to better assess these candidates. It will be useful to examination bodies and administrators of education when it comes to budgeting, because assessing candidates with visual impairment is very expensive. You require technology, you require special skills.
Dr. Charlie Ringu is one of the first visually impaired to defend a PhD thesis at the University of Buea.
You're watching the 7:30 news on the Cameroon Radio Television, and we are beaming live from Yaoundé. Muslim faithful across the country have entered the last 10 days of the holy month of the Ramadan, a period during which they do not only intensify prayers and acts of charity, but also rereading of the Quran and making special preparations to experience the right path. These are activities full of symbolism for the Muslims, as you now tell us, Kilian Difon.
The activities of a Muslim faithful during the month of Ramadan for spiritual upliftment are intensified during the last days. Each of their actions has a specific importance to the faithful.
People are carrying out of worship such as praying.
The prayer is the element that you can use to be in permanent contact with your Lord.
Reading the Holy Quran, it is equally more for us to multiply the acts of charity.
The activities of the holy month of Ramadan culminate in the night of power.
This night of power is better than a thousand months of worship. If we want to make a mathematical calculation, it will be something like 83 years, 4 months.
The significance of the night of power goes beyond the search for the moon, marking the end of Ramadan.
If this night of power happens to meet you while you are worshipping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, while you are carrying an act of worship, act of goodness, that act of goodness you are carrying that particular day is better for you than carrying it in a period out of this night of power for 1,000 months. It is during one of these last 10 nights that the Holy Quran was revealed.
In common language, it is called a spiritual retreat. Muslims call it tikaf. Faithful leave their homes and spend the last 10 days in the mosque. They have prayers and observe general meditations. They also eat at the mosque for those 10 days.
Cameroon's Minister of Housing and Urban Development has asked the Yaoundé Urban Council to speed up actions taken to improve the drainage system in the city. During today's inspection tour of the construction sites of the second phase of the Yaoundé Drainage System Project, codenamed PADI, Minister Jean-Claude Mbwenchu said with the advent of the rains and the high risk of floods, short-term solutions with available resources are necessary. Cynthia Saptala explains more.
Of the rains and the high risk of floods. With 5 rivers passing through Yaoundé and 38 drainage systems blocked with dirt, the Minister of Housing and Urban Development urged the Yaoundé State Council, coordinator of the second phase of the Yaoundé Drainage System Project, PADI, and its partners to use available resources to obtain quick solutions.
What we have said is to ask the urban delegate to use NGOs to clean all the dirty in this center of Yaoundé. What we have seen is very good, and we ask the urban delegate to continue.
The encounter was followed by an inspection tour of some of the 11 construction sites in Yaoundé where Minister Jean-Claude Mbwenchu saw for himself measures taken to avoid floods. According to the coordinator of the project, Gérard Essine Toumba, the increase in the urban population in the last decade and the inappropriate disposal of waste have contributed in blocking the drainage system in the city. He also added that since the start of the project in 2017, over 90% of the work on the Fundi Canal was completed and will be delivered before the end of the year.
A session to validate Phase 1 of the implementation of the universal health coverage in Cameroon and the registration methodology and affiliation beneficiaries has gone underway in Yaoundé. During the meeting presided over by the Minister of Public Health, Andre Mafuda, it was disclosed that children aged 0 to 15 make 47% of those to benefit from the project initiated by the head of state. Yoti Kaleli-Songe now presents those to benefit from the universal health coverage in Cameroon and how they will access health care when it finally takes off.
Children from 0 to 15, pregnant women and patients exposed to major pandemics
such as malaria, HIV and AIDS, tuberculosis and long and costly treatments, to include dialysis and cancers, are those eligible to benefit from the universal health coverage in Cameroon on implementation.
Children 0 to 15 years represent 11 million of inhabitants of Cameroon. We have 1,000 pregnant women per year.
Beneficiaries will be registered to limit abuse and fraud that crop up from such a system, which will provide quality health care and services at a low cost.
We decide to have unique number per person, and we decide to engage biometric cards. This biometric card will serve not only after the registration, will serve in the different health facilities and pharmacies.
Immatriculation is going to take place at the level of the council.
The estimated cost for the implementation of Phase 1 of the universal health coverage in Cameroon stands at about 335 billion CFA francs.
Every year in Cameroon are organized different beauty pageant contests that draw a multitude of young and dynamic girls desiring to mount the ladder of fame. From the Miss Cameroon Beauty Contest to Miss Diamond, passing through Miss Culture and Miss National Unity, the list is far from exhaustive. But behind the beautiful outfits, well-curved shapes and attractive faces of the girls is the unseen sexual, financial and even moral harassment. In our in-depth report tonight, Emmanuel Mvamye says where beauty and fame meet, deviant behavior is likely to prevail.
Behind the glitz and glamour of beauty contests come what the eye sees not, the hidden phase of beauty. It is shrouded by sexual, financial and moral harassment, which puts to question the credibility of who wins.
During my competition at Miss Round the World Cameroon, I was approached by many people who want my body and promised me to be Miss. I will never accept this. I have to respect myself and to respect my family.
A hot potato in the mouth of some, yet a non-event for others. It is the world of beauty, and a leap in this direction equals exposure.
Being a contestant at a beauty contest is already exposing oneself because we are seen by many people. Besides, girls on the street are made advances by men. What more of beauty popular pageants? For those who accept, they have d'accepter ou de refuser.
Young and beautiful, dynamic and ready to mount the ladder of fame, this beauty queen from the world of dolphins finds herself among sharks, as coined in her book.
I had sexual pressure, not from members of the jury though, but the coordinator. I vehemently refused and it ended there. I later wrote this book to recount my experience.
But why are beauty contests often surrounded by controversies?
The problem of sex in Miss Cameroon, it's African problem, you know. We always tell them that here you only have to walk. You don't have to pay any money. You don't have to prostitute to become Miss Cameroon. But some are coming here with the mindset to look for man.
We don't have such things. We move from one region to another. We have local committees that take control of that. When we get there, we'll have the candidates. We do the elections at the regional level, and finally we have 10 candidates at the national level. Hardly have I even seen the president having, to know those candidates in particular.
When beauty and fame meet, deviant behavior lurks in the shadows.
And now to sports. The Normalization Committee of the Cameroon Football Federation, FECAFOOT, has announced that the Ordinary General Assembly of the body, without a legitimate leadership since 2013, will hold on June 23, 2018. The conclave will be charged with the task of validating, modifying or invalidating the proposed governing laws and the electoral process to endow the Federation with a new and legitimate president come elections of August 17, 2018. Gideon Tazo now pries into some of the expected outcomes of the conclave.
With an image that has been seriously battered, Francophone would be seeking to return to normalcy when its ordinary General Assembly holds this June 23. For one thing, exasperated football lovers are hoping that the solidity of the text and impartiality of the electoral code, which will be adopted at the close of their conclave, should stabilize things at the beleaguered football house that has been in tumult since 2013. For this to be guaranteed, a number of major changes to the electoral law and statutes have been proposed. These include a change of voting format from the list system to the uninominal system, the reduction of regional delegates to the General Assembly to 4 down from 5, an increase of the members of the Executive Committee to 19 to include specialized leagues such as the women's and youth football plus the professional associations. A few sticky points that would for sure generate tension also feature. Among them is the proposal to exclude elected officials, members of parliament, senators, board chairs, and directors general from holding executive positions. Also among them is the choice of clubs that should enjoy franchise, the composition of the Electoral Commission, and the nomination or the co-option of some personalities to integrate the 2009 General Assembly that would scrutinize the laws and later on vote the new president on August 17, 2018 should be some of the hot points as well.
Now on to the closing headlines of this edition. Cameroon today marked World Environment Day with focus on beating plastic pollution around the country and encouraging countrywide awareness and action for limiting plastic leak into streams and waterways for an eco-friendly habitat. The in-depth report of the 7:30 News Tonight walked you through the world of the beauty pageants to discover what is beyond the beauty and the glamour of these beauty queens, the world characterized by the good, the bad, and the ugly. And Cameroon's football icon Samuel Eto'O presents his goodwill services to the Ministry of Secondary Education to lead a peace crusade to Anglophone Cameroon to invite the forces in contention to bury the hatchet and give peace a chance. Those were the top stories of this edition of the 7:30 News. The news in the French language comes up in exactly 30 minutes with Adele Mala. All newscasts on the CRTV are available at www.crtv.cm. The 7:30 News on the CRTV. That's the way it was.